Hello everyone, and welcome to our Circle and Salve Women. Today for my 101, we are going to discuss my newest article, Peace Be With Me, Myself and I. And as you can hear, I have a little cold and that's what it is. So let's go ahead and continue. So before I begin, just like I stated in my article, it's not as if there aren't any good people to find. There are quite a few actually in this world if you just go ahead and gravitate towards that type of goodness. In fact, I was surrounded with many greatness. I was very fortunate that by the time I was in high school, I ended up in classes where I really was surrounded with great minds, which had also helped me to evolve and make me and challenge me to be even better and greater, just because when you're around that all the time, it's good to know for those of you who are raising kids that when you're surrounding yourself with those who continue to challenge themselves and they continue to see themselves in that type of light where they know that they have to work toward betterment, it just makes it easier for you to go, oh, well, that's, the type of energy that I have around me. And so that's what I'm going to continue to do for myself. And me personally, I was always that mentality that I was going to be just as good or better. And for me, if I was at 0 or 100, and we're going to get into that next, but let me go ahead and get started with me saying, peace be with me, myself and I. I am an oddball. I will be the first to say that, especially at the time that I have arrived in my life now, where I can be comfortable in really saying that with so much ease and with so much peace within my soul to really state that and know what this means. The very first one that I want to explain to you when it comes to making friendships is, with me, it had to do with having gone to so many different schools. And, I truly believe things don't happen by accident. I believe that you are this person that is becoming, that is evolving and is being molded into who you need to be in life. And as long as you're going into that right direction, you will eventually get to that very masterpiece that you are. But it's a work in progress. And so for me, having gone to 6 different elementary schools, 2 junior highs and high school, that was the only time. I am so fortunate to have gone to just one high school for my 4 years. It really then at that point gave me the ability to find myself and become more acceptable of who I was becoming, having then really ran into the problematic lifestyle of not making friends for a very long time. And by the time that I'd gone into high school, it worked out for me. It made me realize that I really didn't have time to get to know many people as others have had all their lifetime to do and invest in. And I had to be okay with that because I realized I had to really work on getting to know me. There was so much about me that I hadn't even gotten to yet, that I became that, I guess you could say, self-centered, where it's like, no, let me get to really know myself more as time progressed. And so I have 2 things that I want to bring up to you. And I hope that by listening to this, those of you who are listening about making friends and then wondering why you're more comfortable at being by yourself or so, I want you to just know you're not alone, because I am that way. And there are 2 components to why I really, really feel that friendships can be quite an investment, and this is why you really have to ponder upon it and really think about, can you make that investment in life? The first one is time. Time is everything. And again, as I stated to you, no one can say that, oh gosh, everybody is just a bad person. It means get out of that area, because no, there are good people out there. It just means that you maybe have gravitated towards the wrong and then not have taken the time to find some right. And yeah, maybe that's bias on my part, but I, having gone to 6 different elementary schools, having gone through many curt words and actions that people have tried to impose on me and try to make me feel that I was lower than, than who they were, for whatever darkness or however they were feeling feeling to think that they were higher than me. I had to fight through that. And yeah, you go through all of those things where your family gets kicked out of a pool just because they tell you that you're too noisy or you're not wearing the right type of shorts. Just things that you go, whoa, I just really wonder if my type of joy is not someone else's type of joy. Because that's how I looked at it. When we were happy, why was it that all of a sudden we were the oddball? So with that said, I want you to go back to the time part. I eventually got to the point where every time I tried to put in time with someone, I had to move. And then I put in time with someone, I had to move. It became ingrained in me that I really could not put in the time that I wanted to invest in someone, because I started to understand very quickly that to create a really true, genuine friendship. In my article, I stated to you that this is not fake friendship. This is not where you are codependent for a company. That to me is fake friendship. When you just need someone to be there because you want to fill a room or you want to look like you have an entourage of friends, for them to be there, that's great. If that is something that you're okay with and you're comfortable with. But for me, it was more, it's always been that friendship is so much more. It's so much deeper. It really has to do with getting to know everything about them, because you should be honoring your friends. You should really get to know how they live before you got to meet them, what their thoughts are, what their favorite color is, just what they like to eat. So if there's something that you have something in common that you share with, that there's that respect, there's this gratitude for their existence, their presence, and there's a lot of time involved in that. And there are so many people that I have run into in life. And there's Tammy. I still remember to this day. I met her very briefly because she came into the school that I had attended, but it was only for 1 year. And by the end of the year, guess what? I was moving on to a different school. And I look back and I go, oh my gosh, she was so genuine. If you have run into so many people in life, you are become intuitive, instinctive about what type of people are out there, and whether they're real, whether they are trying to be real, because there are people still trying to find themselves, and you got to give them forgiveness for that. I know in my 20s, in my 30s, I was still trying to find myself. So you just know you're still trying to wear different shoes to try to figure out who you truly are. And that goes right back to that time when I realized that the time that I had to put in for other people was a time I really needed for myself. Then it made me okay with that, to say, okay, whoa, I need to invest time in myself. I need to really get to know me before I can even try to get to know other people. And so that is my first take on friendships. It takes time, the true friendships. Second one is it takes effort. Oh my goodness, I'm 100% or none, 0%. And really for me, it goes back into that investment. When you get to know someone, you want to open your door to them 24/7. And you want to be able to say to them, hey, I'm here for you anytime that you need me, night or day, I'm here. And that is not something I can give someone other than God, other than my husband, other than my children. That is something that I feel is, if you are somewhat involved in my life, there has to be that layer. And I know I've had another article and video on that one where we're talking about these layers in life where you kind of go, where is your core? Who are the ones you are down with? Where right here, they're not giving up on you and they're not letting go of you, and that that they are there with you from the beginning to the end. And that's very rare, and you have to give people forgiveness when they can't handle that, when they really can't commit to that. It's a reciprocated type of a feeling of understanding, that maturity of knowing that this takes effort. This true friendship takes effort. And for me to sell you myself, to make you think that, hey, I'm down with you to the end, how many people can you truly say that to? And so for those of you who may say, I have a lot of friends. Okay, that's great. I could say that as well. But if I think about the levels, you really have to think, well, define it. Define it, because when it takes time, do you really put yourself in that situation where you have put in every possible time that there needs to be, so that if I were to ask you a question about that person, you would know 9 times out of 10, you would get the answers right. And when it came to the effort, I was to ask your friend and say, hey, have you ever called this person, in the middle of the night, and they were able to just jump into their car and get you, no matter what, and they left and got you. And, that's the one that you want to hold on to and say, you know what, that's all I need. But for you to think that you can get that everywhere, every time, in any situation, good for you if you're able to, but in my sake, in my part of life, I knew that that was very limited. And so for me, think about where you're at with your friendships. Mine was, I was the new girl at school every year until I got into high school. And still, when I was in high school, every time I was changing into myself every year, there was, the freshmen coming in and the sophomores coming in and the juniors coming in, and then the new students coming in. You always felt like you were being watched, or it didn't matter after a while, who cares, But really, it was more of like, who am I? Who am I becoming, and who do I need to be, and where's my comfort zone? I got to a point where I was bringing fried hot dogs by the time I was a senior year, perhaps something I would have never done, in as a freshman year. But as you get more comfortable with you go, this is who I am. But that's because I was investing in time for me to get to know me, so that then whoever wanted to gravitate toward me and be around me, I knew that was true. That was true game. That there was that plan of action in their part to go, hey, I can hang with this person for the moment. And it didn't have to be something so deep. This is why, to me, the most priceless times where you would end up being at a grocery store or an amusement park in line, you get to really present yourself. Whatever conversation is brought up, you give it your all for that moment, because you don't have that much time with that person. That line, eventually they're going to get served, you're going to get served, you're going to be out going into your own different directions, and you gave it your all at that given moment because you knew that was precious time to have that conversation with the person, and you went your separate ways. But that, to me, is more precious than just being there and just being in a room and not really even investing in time and effort to really get to know someone. So being that new girl in school always made me feel like no one needs to invest in me. I need to invest in me. Next one is, I didn't like recess. For me, that was interesting because I was not the norm. I like to go into the library. I love that Miss Conert in my sixth grade in sixth grade, would allow us to go into the library. And it always saddened me and, bummed me out when she didn't have the library open. That, was okay. I'd go outside and just kind of feel meh about going out and having to just interact with other people, again, being good. I still remember Sarah Jacobson and Dave and all those people that I played with whenever I got to see them outside. Christopher Walker, if you're still out there, just so many good people out there. But it was more of like, I'd rather be in the library right now and just play checkers or, backgammon or whatever it was that I could play and be with the few people that were comfortable being alone. And so for me, this was who I was. And this is what I felt like people needed to get to know me. I couldn't afford to get to know other people. I was still trying to find myself. The next one is that I also like to listen to wisdom, not just chatter. I do pretty well. I would like to think that I'm pretty cordial. When you listen to other people and they're talking, you know that sometimes they just need that time for you to listen to them. But you try to get your exit out of there and know that you've given them enough of your time. But then that just becomes fluff, and then you wonder, what did you get out of that, and how did that use up your time when you made that effort to listen? So for me, I'm always hungry for wisdom, and that is a big piece in me in really getting to be comfortable with the fact that it's not always just wanting to just hang out. It's like, what can you give me? What can you help me in here to grow, and in here to grow, so that together we will be better from this conversation. Next one is, I didn't have any new clothes. It's one thing when you're getting hand-me-downs and you're resewing them and so forth, but it's another thing to kind of just be like, okay, I'm definitely tacky, but you had to sell to yourself that you look good and that you felt good with it, because that's all you had. And again, it's you discovering yourself and saying, this is who I am. This is what I'm about. And yet, so what? You're gonna laugh at me. Let me be the first to laugh at myself first. Always did that. I had shoes at times where they just opened up and flat because I didn't have any other shoes. I laughed at myself first, whatever. But I had to be comfortable with me because I had no one else to really live with other than myself. So that investment in time and making effort to really love me was really a key to that. Hey, before I can make friends, I have to be a friend to myself first. Next one is, I love to dance. And sometimes when you don't know people, but you love music, you just learn to dance by yourself. And in my article, I stated to you that was like a dragon with broken chains, because it was like time to release and just time to let go. And so when you're out there having a good time, if someone wanted to dance with you, great, but really they were just that person that was a partner. As you continue to really love the music about you and hearing it, and then just being uplifted, dancing around like crazy. And then last for me was, I love talking about learning. This goes with liking to listen to wisdom. For me, it was me sitting in a room and just being very lucky that the older generation, the older people around me wouldn't kick me out as a kid, because I could hear all of their wisdom in one room, and especially when they were really getting into deep thinking and thought processes. It was just so nice to just listen. So when you're an oddball like that, you learn to just go, this is who I am. It's going to take time. It's going to take effort for me to get to know who you are. So let me get to know who I am first. And when I am in peace with me, myself, and then I can go, okay, now I can invest in other people. But it's interesting, because as I see the elderly, it amazes me that when they arrive, that I see them at the gym. I love still talking, and always, to the end of time, I think that's where I'm at, is just always trying to siphon wisdom from anyone else. But there is that comfort in them of not just knowing that, hey, we've got 10 seconds, hey, we've got 10 minutes, hey, we've got a little bit longer than that to talk, and they're okay with it. And then they just keep going. And I just know that I've arrived there, and I feel very fortunate to be at that point. And I hope you have too, because I see sometimes that people think numbers, everything. It's not the quantity, it is truly the quality. If you do not, I personally feel, if you are not a true friend to yourself first, then how do you truly know what type of friendship you should honor, and that you should have, and that you should give? Because unless you know what you're looking for, and unless you know what you are able to offer, how are you able to exchange anything that is genuine? So with that said, I hope you're able to get something out of this today. Just be happy with you, keep loving you, be in peace with you. It is okay if you like to be alone. It is okay if you're still trying to find you. Just really be at peace with you, yourself, and just be knowing that those who accept that will be really respectful of it and see you as this light that is not afraid to be by yourself and not afraid to get to know you first. That is genuine. And I hope I'm getting there. Still working on it. And if you are, then we both are. So in the words of my mother, God bless us all. Have a great day. We will see you next time. And thank you for your time today. Have a good one.